John Stainsby and Stanley Reading are charged jointly with corruption. Stainsby, as County Planning Officer for Moreland County Council, is alleged to have received gifts from Stanley Reading, an architect, intended as a bribe to secure Reading's firm the contract to design the new Council Administration Centre.
You are Stephen Amorous of 34 Mayflower Road, Fulchester?
I am.
Yes, and you are at present a lecturer in town and country planning at Fulchester University.
Environmental studies with emphasis on planning methodology and strategic planning.
Yes. Prior to that, were you employed by Moreland County Council as an assistant planning officer?
Yes.
Yes. And who is your immediate superior, the county planning officer during your employment?
Mr. Stainsby?
Mm-hmm. The first defendant, John Stainsby?
Yes.
Yes. Now, did you work closely with him, almost in the capacity of a personal assistant?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Can you recall the events of the afternoon on Friday, January the 4th of this year?
Yes. I attended a meeting called by the clerk to the council. I was there with Mr. Stainsby and other parties interested in the proposed new council offices that were in the planning stage.
The new council offices being the Administration Centre for Local Government in Moreland?
Yes.
Yes. And why was this meeting called?
Mr. Stainsby queried the choice of private architect to design the new council offices. The county architect had chosen Flint Makepeace, and Mr. Stainsby disagreed with him.
Yes. And this meeting was called to thrash out the matter?
Yes.
Yes. Now, who else was present at this meeting?
The clerk, myself, county treasurer, the estates committee representative, and the county architect.
Yes. Now, disregarding yourself, of the four members present besides the defendant, was there anybody else who, at the start of the meeting, favoured Mr. Stainsby's choice?
No. Mr. Stainsby advocated that Licence, Mr. Reading's firm, should be given the contract. He said that the council had used Reading's on the swimming baths and on the new Slade Comprehensive School, and there was no reason to doubt their ability to design the new council offices.
And what was the conclusion of this meeting, Mr. Amos?
To recommend back to the main policy committee of the council that Licence be given the contract.
So Mr. Stainsby got his way with the meeting?
Yes.
Yes. Now, did you occasionally assist Mr. Stainsby in a private capacity?
Yes.
And did you have occasion to visit Mr. Stainsby's house in October 1973?
Yes. He was taking me to a site conference, and we stopped off at his house. He said he'd just had a carpet delivered, and he wanted to make sure it was all right, as there was no one in the house.
And did Mr. Stainsby say anything about the carpet, its nature, value?
Yes, he said it was Persian and worth a bob or two. Those were the actual words he used.
Yes. Now, was there anyone else in the house while you were there?
Yes, Mr. Reading, the other defendant.
And did you know who had sent the carpet to the house?
Yes, Mr. Reading.
How do you know that?
Well, Mr. Reading asked Mr. Stainsby if he liked the carpet. He talked about its origins and where he got it from, and he said, well, he repeated once or twice that he didn't need it. I think Mr. Reading said this for my benefit. He seemed embarrassed at me being there.
Yes, Mr. Amorous, don't tell us your assumptions. Only state what you saw or heard. Is that clear?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, now, do you know whether Mr. Reading delivered the carpet personally, or had he arranged for it to be delivered?
A van delivered it. I saw it leaving as we got there. Mr. Reading came along just to check that it arrived safely.
Yes. Now, let's move on to January 1974. Can you remember being with Mr. Stainsby in January 1974?
Yes, on a number of occasions. But on January the 10th, I was with Mr. Stainsby at the Dawson Hotel in London. We were staying there overnight and attending a conference the next day.
This was a conference you were attending as representatives of Moreland County Council?
Yes.
Yes. So many of the expenses incurred in travel and hotel would be paid by the council?
Yes, for the 2 days.
Now, did you return on January the 11th as expected?
No, we didn't. Mr. Reading was at the conference. He offered us a chance to stay on for another couple of days, till the Saturday, and at his own expense. And he'd lay on a theatre show, a meal and so on.
And did you accept this invitation?
Well, I didn't, but Mr. Stainsby did, and I could hardly refuse. I didn't want to upset anybody.
Yes, he was your superior officer, and you wanted to fit in with what he wanted.
Yes, in a way.
I see. Now, will you tell the court where you were on the evening of January the 11th?
I was with Mr. Stainsby and Mr. Reading in a flat belonging to a friend of theirs just round the corner from Berkeley Square. It was a social evening. We'd been to the theatre and...
Yes.
Now, what happened in this flat?
Mr. Reading gave me an envelope.
Will you tell the court the exact circumstances in which this occurred, please, Mr. Amos?
I was in the kitchen on my own, and Mr. Reading came in with this envelope.
Would you describe this envelope, please?
Brown, quarto size, and bulky.
Yeah. And did Mr. Reading say anything to you?
Yes, he said, would I give it to Mr. Stainsby?
But Mr. Stainsby was there. Why didn't Mr. Reading give it to him personally?
No, Mr. Stainsby hadn't been feeling well, and he'd gone home back to the hotel without saying goodbye. Mr. Reading said he couldn't take the envelope to him himself, as he had a plane to catch first thing in the morning, and he wanted to get some sleep. And he couldn't post it. It was too late.
I see. And what did you do then?
I went back to the hotel, and I gave Mr. Stainsby the envelope.
Which he accepted?
Yes.
You told him who it was from?
Yes.
Yes. And did he say anything to you?
Yes, he said, this will take care of the hotel expenses.
This will take care of the hotel expenses, yes. Now, did you find what this envelope contained?
Yes, the next morning, Saturday. Mr. Stainsby was downstairs, and I went into his bedroom, and I saw the envelope. It was open.
The bedroom was open as well as the envelope?
No, the envelope was open. We'd been given a suite with interconnecting doors.
I see.
Yes. Now, what did you do when you saw that the envelope had been opened?
I looked inside. There was £1,000.
You counted it? What, in £5 notes? Pound notes?
There were 100 £10 notes.
Why did you do this, Mr. Amorous? Why did you probe into somebody else's property?
Well, I was suspicious. No, more than that, I was convinced that there was bribery going on. There was the new contract for the council offices just been brought out, and, well, I knew Mr. Reading's firm would be interested.
Did you tell Mr. Stainsby that you had seen and counted this money?
No. I was working for the council, and Mr. Stainsby was my boss. I wanted to leave to work at university, and of course I needed a reference. Now, if I'd been wrong, or if it couldn't have been proved...
Quite, I understand, Mr. Amos. Now, let's move on to May the 27th, 1974. It's a date which is not in dispute, my lord. Now, were you at Mr. Stainsby's house that night?
Yes, there was a party.
What kind of party?
Business friends, mainly.
And was Mr. Reading present on this occasion?
No, he wasn't.
Now, this house has a cellar, I believe.
Yes, I went down to get some wine. Mr. Stainsby asked me to...
Yes, could you see down there? Was there a light?
Electric light, yes, I could see very well.
And what did you see down in the cellar?
There was a crate of wine with a note attached. It was the only crate with a note, so I noticed it. It was from the Vintage Society.
Yes, the Vintage Society being an organisation, my lord, to which one subscribes in order to get wine at a discount, and also I believe it can deliver gifts to friends and so on.
Yes, this had a Christmas label for 1973, and it was signed Stanley Reading.
Signed?
Printed.
Yes. Now, will you look at this, please? Exhibit 1, my lord. Now, do you recognise that?
Yes. This is the same card I saw in the cellar.
Yes, indeed. Now, will you read out what it says, please?
To John, compliments of the season and good wishes, Stanley Reading.
Yes. My lord, there is no dispute as to the value of the wine, which was £25, which, together with the carpet, £869, the 2 days in the hotel, £40, and the money in the envelope, £1,000, adds up to a total of £1,935.
I have it as £1,934. Your arithmetic is almost as good as mine. Hey, Mr. Golding.
Yes, indeed, my lord. My apologies. £1,934. Mr. Amorous, these gifts, you testify, were made between October 1973 and January the 12th, 1974, a period of 3 months. And the Moreland County Council advertised their plan for the building of the new council offices during this same period.
Yes, January the 1st, 1974.
Yes, but of course a number of people, Mr. Stainsby included, would have known of the council's intention months before.
Mr. Stainsby certainly a year before.
Yes, and Mr. Reading?
Could have known at the same time.
My lord, this is pure speculation as to whether or not Mr. Reading knew of the council's intentions.
Thank you, Mr. Amos.
Mr. Amorous, you appreciate that without your evidence, the prosecution would have no case.
Well, do you appreciate that?
Well, yes, I suppose so.
Yes, well, we've heard you describe yourself as in some ways acting as Mr. Stainsby's personal assistant. But don't you think it's unusual, almost curious, that on 3 separate occasions, first with the carpet, then with the hotel and the envelope, and finally with the wine. You were present, and indeed almost singled out as if by fate to stumble on the misbehaviour of my client.
Do I think it odd? No.
Well, let us take the incident of the envelope at the hotel. Now, Mr. Amris, that whole story is a complete fabrication and without any substance whatsoever. Is that not so?
No.
All right, well, where was the envelope when you first saw it?
It was lying on the dressing table.
I see. You're saying Mr. Stainsby left an open envelope containing a £1,000 bribe lying on a dressing table in a hotel room.
We were packing. Mr. Stainsby was downstairs, and obviously he'd forgotten. I came in through the connecting door. The door to the corridor was locked.
Yes, but even so, I'm sure Mr. Stainsby would be well aware that hotel staff had pass keys to his room. And are you saying that Mr. Reading handed over a £1,000 bribe to a third party?
Yes.
Yes, and when you handed over the envelope, Mr. Stainsby said, "This will take care of the hotel expenses."
That's what he said.
Yes, well, if all you're saying is true, Mr. Stainsby seemed to be doing everything he could to provide evidence that he was being bribed. For instance, when you accompanied him to his house about the carpet, you say he said, "It's worth a bob or two."
That's what he said.
Well, the jury may well think it strange. As a man intent on being bribed invites a witness to the scene of the bribery, and especially a witness who was a public employee working for the same employer. Now, when did you first report these incidents to the police?
May the 28th, 1974.
Did you say that you knew about the carpet and the £1,000 in January, 4 months before? Well, why on earth didn't you inform the police on January the 11th, when you found the £1,000, if you were convinced, as you put it, that bribery was taking place?
I said before, I wanted to leave the council, and I needed a reference. Now, if it had been proved wrong, I wouldn't have stood much chance, would I?
Yes. You wanted a reference from Mr. Stainsby. But once having got that reference, you were quite prepared, as they put it, to shop him to the police. Now, what's your opinion of someone who uses a person for their own ends and then callously throws them overboard?
My lord, I...
Yes, Mr. Golding. Mr. Lloyd, that question, I think, is improper. You could rephrase it, but it is a matter of comment, is it not?
Yes, my lord, I intend to show that this witness's evidence is motivated and coloured by malice towards my client.
If we could come to that expeditiously, Mr. Lloyd.
Yes, my lord. Now, Mr. Amris, the day before you wrote your letter to the police informing them of your suspicions was May the 27th, was it not?
Yes.
Now, was that not the night that you went down into Mr. Stainsby's cellar?
Yes.
Yes. And on May the 28th, the day you wrote to the police was also the day you wrote your resignation to Moreland County Council.
Yes.
Yes. So had you secured your job with the university with the aid of Mr. Stainsby's reference by this time?
Yes.
I see. Now, Mr. Amris, was there something that happened the previous evening, May the 27th, after you'd gone down to the cellar to fetch up some wine? Something that motivated your writing to the police?
I don't understand.
I'm asking you, please, to tell the court what transpired on the evening of May the 27th. An event so traumatic, so humiliating, it drove you to seek revenge on my client. Oh, come on now, Mr. Amris. For a man with a good memory, you can't have forgotten the incident. Well, let me refresh your memory. Mr. Stainsby asked you to leave his house, did he not?
I wasn't like that.
I just want an answer, yes or no. Did Mr. Stainsby ask you to leave his house?
Yes.
Yes. And he asked you to leave his house, did he not? Because you'd behaved in such a manner as to cause embarrassment and annoyance to Mr. Stainsby in front of his guests.
It was an accident.
Ah, you remembered what happened then. Good. What was it?
I accidentally opened a can of beer which burst and sprayed the room, that was all.
That was all. Then Mr. Stainsby asked you to leave his house.
Yes.
Yes. So because of an accident, you were humiliated to the extent of being turned out of the house. You felt angry, no doubt.
The evidence I gave was the truth.
You sprayed the room with beer, and then in front of all the guests, you were asked to leave like a small boy from a classroom. You must have felt very bitter.
No, the bitter went over the carpet. The one Mr. Reading had given him. He said, "Look what you've done, that's worth 800 quid. I apologized, but he asked me to leave. Yes, maybe I did feel motivated to write the letter. But what I wrote was the truth.
Mr. Amris, you are aware that Mr. Stainsby and Mr. Reading have been friends for many years.
I knew that they knew each other.
In fact, their wives and their families were friendly with each other.
I suppose so.
Yes, well, in those circumstances, the gift of a carpet from one family to another is not so strange, is it?
Maybe.
Well, you were asked by Mr. Stainsby himself to go to the house and lend a hand with the newly arrived carpet. Now, was there anything to suggest that this was anything more than an innocent gift from one family to another?
Perhaps that's what they wanted me to think.
Yes, but surely, Mr. Amris, if Mr. Stainsby had been accepting bribes, he could quite easily have kept you, another council official, out of the picture altogether, couldn't he?
I doubt it. I would have seen it in the end.
Mr. Amris, you may well have been his personal assistant, but you didn't spend every waking hour counting his carpets, did you?
No.
No. Now, we have uncorroborated testimony from you that you were in the kitchen of a flat when Mr. Reading gave you an envelope which you allege contained £1,000 in £10 notes. Now, again, I put it to you that that is a complete and utter fabrication.
Obviously, there's no corroboration because Mr. Reading wouldn't want us to be seen, would he?
Oh. Oh, really, Mr. Amris? Well, you were surely not more nor less involved than any of the other guests. Well, are you saying, then, that Mr. Reading thought that you were in Mr. Stainsby's confidence and that you were involved in the bribery?
No, of course
No,
not.
You've just said that Mr. Reading wouldn't want to be seen handing over the envelope. Well, if that were the case, presumably you considered yourself involved in the bribery. And if that were so, then presumably you would have refused to accept the envelope. I mean, you told us that your suspicions had been aroused, so surely you would have refused. I mean, despite your need for a reference from Mr. Stainsby, because it's a very serious crime, is it not? Bribery.
I said my suspicions were aroused when I saw the contents of the envelope the next day.
Oh, I see. So the carpet 4 months earlier had not aroused your suspicions. Mr. Amris, I put it to you that you knew full well the carpet and the wine were not sufficient in themselves to add up to any form of bribery. So when you wrote your letter feeling bitter, you concocted this incredible story of Mr. Reading quite casually handing over to you £1,000 to give to your superior officer. Now, that is the case, is it not?
I thought about the carpet at the time. But when I wrote the letter, I was principally motivated by the envelope.
Yes, yes. Motivated by something that had happened a full 4 months earlier. On May the 27th, what time did you arrive home from Mr. Stainsby's house?
I don't know, late. 2, 3 o'clock.
Yes, when did you actually put pen to paper writing this letter to the police?
I wrote it after breakfast the next morning.
The same morning, you mean?
Yes.
Yes. So you wrote the letter within hours of being humiliated by Mr. Stainsby, but 4 months after the events it described.
The evidence I gave was the truth.
Is that when you wrote the letter?
I wrote it then.
Yes. Well, why? If you were so convinced that Mr. Stainsby had accepted a £1,000 bribe 4 months before. I suggest to you, Mr. Amris, that when you knew you were leaving the council, you went to the party to dig out what you could to incriminate your superior officer.
That's a load of rubbish.
But why did you go into the cellar and poke around until you found the wine with Mr. Reading's greetings card attached to it?
I didn't. He asked me to go down and get some champagne.
I'm putting it to you, Mr. Amris, that despite your superior officer's friendliness towards you, he'd invited you to his party, he'd asked you to stay on with him in London, all this, despite his trust and his faith in you, he'd given you a good reference. You were jealous of him. You disliked him. And knowing you were leaving the council and had nothing to fear, you behaved abominably at this party, and you were rightly ejected. You then concocted the story of the wine, the carpet, and the envelope in order to bring Mr. Stainsby before this court.
That is not true.
Mr. Lloyd, I think you're tending to make speeches, and this might be better left for your address to the jury. Mr. Amris, if I understand counsel at all, I think the question should have been, were you jealous of him?
Not jealous, no. But he's a very frightening man. If he'd been not guilty, I'd have been frightened to death.
Yes, but according to you, you had definite evidence of guilt, the £1,000 4 months before. Now, am I right in thinking that you wanted to leave the council, amongst other reasons, that you so disliked your superior officer, Mr. Stainsby, you wanted to get away from him?
Yes.
Yes. And why didn't you tell the police of the £1,000 in January? You might have got rid of him more quickly. And do you take the Guardian newspaper on a daily basis, Mr. Amris?
Yes.
Yes, here's a copy of the Guardian newspaper for May the 27th, 1974. Exhibit 2, my lord.
Yes.
I would like you to look at the headline. Former head of coal board fined. It's marked in the red ink, my lord. Mr. Amris, would you look at the third paragraph in the third column relating to this story? It deals with the case of bribery in local government. Would you please read it out?
This envelope raised suspicions of further benefits on this and other visits. There was no evidence of what the envelope contained.
Thank you. Now, the date on that newspaper, you agree, is May 27th, 1974.
Yes.
Well, no doubt you read that article before attending Mr. Stainsby's party on the evening of the same day.
I may have done, I don't remember.
It's a remarkable coincidence that you write a letter concerning an envelope used in bribery within 24 hours of a newspaper report dealing with the same thing. It's one of a series of coincidences. The 3 separate occasions on which you allege a bribery took place and at which you were coincidentally present. And now we have this coincidence. Or was it a coincidence?
A bit naive of me, don't you think, to use something in a newspaper the very next day?
You admit you were being naive?
No, of course not. It would have been stupid.
What do they say, Mr. Amris? Once is happenstance, twice it's coincidence, the third time it's enemy action. No further questions, Marple.
I have no questions, Will.
Mr. Amris, now, you acted as a personal assistant to Mr. Stainsby.
Yes.
Yes. And as a personal assistant, I imagine Mr. Stainsby would not regard you as a security risk for any of his personal arrangements.
I shouldn't have thought so.
No, of course not. Now, we've heard that Mr. Stainsby asked you to leave his house. But apart from that one incident, was there any other reason why you should have wanted to do him harm?
Not at all.
He treated you well, did he?
Yes.
Yes. And the reason you did not inform the police earlier of your suspicions was because of this hazard to yourself, should the charges prove unfounded.
That is correct.
Yeah, thank you. Does your lordship have any questions?
No. Thank you, Mr. Amris.
That concludes the case for the prosecution, my lord.
Yeah.
You are John Edward Stainsby of 18 Lavington Avenue, Fulchester.
Yes.
And until recently, the county planning officer for Moreland County Council.
Yes.
What was your salary, Mr. Stainsby?
I receive £10,000 a year.
Yes, adequate for the provision not only of the necessities of life, but also many of life's luxuries, would you say?
Yes.
Now, did you ever feel the need for more money than you actually received during your employ with Moreland County Council?
No.
Now, we've heard that allegedly gifts were made to you from Stanley Reading, the co-defendant in this case. Gifts, firstly, of a carpet. Do you deny that?
No.
Then at Christmas, 1973, a gift of wine to the value of £25. Do you deny that?
No.
And it is alleged that on January the 11th, 1974, you received an envelope containing £1,000 in £10 notes from the accused, Stanley Reading. Do you deny that?
Yes. The wine was a perfectly ordinary Christmas gift. If I'd bothered to keep labels, I could have shown that Stanley Reading had made me gifts of wine similar to that over previous occasions of the past years. The carpet, he didn't want. He was moving house, he wouldn't fit anywhere. It was a good carpet, so rather than cut it up, he chose to give it to me. There never was any envelope. The £1,000 is a downright damnable lie.
Tomorrow, our cameras return to the Crown Court for the continuation of the case of the Queen against Stainsby and Reading. John Edward Stainsby, former county planning officer for Moreland County Council, is charged with accepting bribes from Stanley Reading, an architect in the firm of Licence. The bribes, it is alleged, were designed to secure Licence the design contract for the proposed new council offices. The prosecution have produced evidence that gifts of wine, a carpet, hotel expenses and £1,000 were made by Reading to Stainsby. The defence have maintained that the key prosecution witness is lying in order to seek revenge on Stainsby, his former superior in council employment. It is suggested that Stainsby had humiliated the witness at a party at Stainsby's house. Mr. Justice Mitchener has intervened.
Yes, you admit receiving these gifts of the carpet and the wine, and yet you plead not guilty. Will you please help the court and tell us why?
Because together, my lord, they wouldn't bribe me to give a tramp a loaf of bread. The carpet I didn't need. We have fully fitted carpet throughout the house. The only reason I accepted it was because my nephew was getting married. I thought he might like it. As to the wine, well, I like to think of myself as something of a connoisseur. I have a cellar stocked full of very expensive wines, and the gift from the Vintage Society was of pretty inferior quality.
Oh, Mr. Lloyd, at the risk of putting myself forward as an expert witness, I have to confess that I am a member of the Vintage Society. Their wines are never inferior.
Well, I suggest you try mine, my lord.
What was the name of the shipper?
Oh, I've no idea.
Oh, then perhaps you're not a connoisseur. Yes, Mr. Lloyd?
Yes, thank you, my lord. Mr. Stainsby, if someone gave you £1,000, what would your reaction be?
Well, in the first place, I didn't. But if they had done, I wouldn't have left it on a dressing table for everybody to see. And in the second place, if somebody was going to bribe me with money, they would hardly have given it to my subordinate.
Yes. Now, we've heard how the design contract was offered by the council to license the architects. Now, before your meeting called by the county clerk, were you aware that the county architect favoured Flint Makepeace, another firm of architects, for this contract?
Yes.
And did you attend that meeting with the express purpose of persuading those present to accept licence instead of Flint Makepeace? And if so, why?
Do you want a professional or a simple answer?
What were your reasons for favouring another firm?
Licence had already designed the new baths and the new Slade Comprehensive School, both buildings excellent in design and function. Because I thought that they were the best firm for the job, they have functional brilliancy coupled with artistic flair, because they are adaptable, easy to work with, and locally based.
Thank you. A simple and professional answer. But if they were so good, why did your fellow council officers prefer another firm?
They didn't, my lord.
Oh?
It was only the county architect who favoured Flint Makepeace. The rest of the meeting were quite neutral. I did not have to sell myself at that meeting. Of course, we all show bias when we're considering contracts. We have to come to a decision. We all have our personal preferences, and we all of us stand in danger of being accused of corruption if we accept a double whisky from the recipient of the contract.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, my lord. Now, when Licence designed the swimming baths and the comprehensive school, were you involved in choosing them?
Yes.
And was there any difference of opinion as to which firm of architects should be chosen on those occasions?
No, the meeting was quite unanimous in choosing Licence.
Yes, and do you know why the county architect on this occasion favoured Flint Makepeace?
No. But with respect, I would like to point out that the county architect had more reason and certainly more opportunity to accept bribes than I did.
Oh, my
Yes,
Lord.
of course, no one is suggesting that the county architect was involved in anything improper, but we do take your point, Mr. Stainsby. Now, it does seem to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that it was the norm to accept licence and that bribery was hardly necessary to maintain their relationship with the council.
That is quite correct, yes.
Yes. Now, on January the 10th last, did Mr. Reading ask you to stay 2 days longer than was necessary in London?
Yes.
Yes, you were there on council business, were you not?
Yes.
Now, you accepted that invitation at Mr. Reading's expense.
Yes.
Now, why was that?
Because I'd forgotten my chequebook. I refused it first because of that, but, well, it was a very small amount. And I've entertained Stanley Reading and his wife at my house for a week or longer on a number of occasions over the past years. I've spent a good deal more on him than he spent on me in 2 days in a hotel in London.
Yes, we'll come to your relationship with Mr. Reading in just a moment. Now, am I correct in saying that the gift of the unwanted carpet and the crate of wine were made before the council publicly advertised their intention to build a new council building?
Yes.
Yes, even before you knew the county architect was going to favour Flint Makepeace architects rather than choose, well, what should have been on their past record, the automatic choice of Licence the architects?
Yes.
Yes. Now, when were you first informed by the county architect of his preference for the contract?
New Year's Eve, 1973, December 31st.
Yes, and you'd received the carpet 2 months earlier.
Yes.
And the wine?
A few days before Christmas.
So, as far as you were concerned, Lysons were everyone's favourites for this contract during the period in which you received the gifts, even if you'd had no say in the matter at all.
Yes.
Yes. And the alleged gift of £1,000 after you knew of the county architect's choice is a lie.
Yes.
Oh, dear. Are you beginning to lead the witness, Mr. Lloyd?
My lord. Now, let us examine your relationship with Mr. Amris. We've heard how Mr. Amris, at a party given by you on May the 27th last, was asked to leave your house, and then afterwards he wrote a letter to the police making allegations against you. Now, would you describe the events leading to Mr. Amris's ejection from your house?
Yes, you're behaving like a hooligan.
Who was behaving like a hooligan?
Amris. Laughing and shouting and shaking this beer can up and down, so when he tore off the foil strip, the foam sprayed everywhere.
Yes, I say. How did you react to that?
Well, I was furious. It ruined the wallpaper, went all over the carpet, all over the furniture, went over some of the guests. I told him to get out.
And then?
Well, he started to go, and he got to the door, and I told him, I said, next time you come to a party, I said, if you want to learn how to hold your liquor and not drink as much. Well, he was shaking, and he said to me, I'll get you for this.
Oh, my lord, this is not put to Mr. Amris.
No, not in those terms. Well, I suppose we can have him back later, but only if absolutely necessary. Yes.
Is that all that he said?
Yes.
Now, how long have you known Mr. Reading?
Well, about 30 years. We were at university together studying architecture.
Yes, and did you maintain contact with each other over this long period?
Yes.
And how would you describe your relationship with Mr. Reading?
Oh, what a friendship.
Yes, and in the course of this friendship, did you exchange gifts?
Yes, birthdays and Christmas and so on, yes.
Yes, I see. And have you made any expensive gifts to Mr. Reading?
Yes, I bought him a camera once, and I've entertained him and his wife. I bought his daughter a bicycle, a fountain pen, well, gifts at birthdays for each member of the family.
Yes, I see. So were you surprised at the Christmas gift of the wine from Mr. Reading?
Mr. Lloyd, it may be for the jury to decide whether or not it was a Christmas gift.
Were you surprised at the gift at Christmas of the wine from Mr. Reading?
No, as I say, I had already received similar gifts on 2 previous occasions. No one surprised, no?
Yes, and I believe your wife and Mrs. Reading accompanied each other recently on a short package tour to Moscow.
That is true, yes.
Yes, now, in the midst of all this family friendship, did you ever discuss business matters?
No. No, it was our policy not to.
Policy?
Yes, well, people are fools who mix business with pleasure. And we were well aware that having done business together on the baths and on the comprehensive school, that it would be very easy for people to point the finger.
Accusing you?
Yes. That's why we're all here now, isn't it?
Yes, now, between October and December the 31st, 1973, that's the period in which you received the carpet and the wine. Did Mr. Reading know of this proposed new council building?
Oh, my lord, I thought it was already established that the only person capable of answering this is Mr. Reading himself.
Yes.
Yes, did you tell Mr. Reading of this proposed new council building?
No, I said nothing about it.
Yes, and of course the council didn't publicly advertise their intention to go ahead until January the 1st, 1974.
That is correct, yes.
Now, in what circumstances did you hear that the county architect intended to use another firm for the contract other than Lysons?
Well, it was New Year's Day. I was in conversation with the county architect, and he informed me that he intended to use Flint Makepeace. I pointed out to him that Lysons had already proved themselves with the council on 2 sizable projects in the past, so why now opt for a firm who had only worked for the council once before in designing a council house, a private dwelling?
Yes. Now, between January the 1st, when the council publicly announced their intention to go ahead with the new building, and January the 4th, the date of your meeting with the clerk to the council, had you made any contact whatsoever with Mr. Reading on the subject of this new contract?
No. It would have been quite difficult anyway, because he was away in Austria and Germany at the time touring.
Yes. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Stainsby. Would you wait there, please?
Yeah.
Mr. Stainsby, to what extent, if any, did your friendship with Mr. Reading lead you to favour his firm for the council contract?
I don't quite understand what you mean by that.
Well, there's nothing illegal in favouring one's friends in work. The illegality lies if those favours are gained by bribery.
Well, no bias was shown towards licence other than knowing that they would make a good job of the design contract.
Now, from what you say, Mr. Stainsby, it would seem that my client's gift to you of the carpet and the wine were rather beneath your contempt.
No, I didn't say that.
You are a connoisseur of wine. You didn't need the carpet. Were you doing my client a favour by accepting them?
I suppose you could put it that way, yes.
This unwanted carpet has already been valued at over £800. Now, is something worth over £800 beneath your contempt?
I didn't want the carpet. And as it was a gift, I could hardly sell it, could I?
Well, the wine was valued at £25. One would hardly say valueless. The 2 days in the hotel cost £40, and together with £1,000, totalling £1,934. Now, is that beneath your contempt, Mr. Stainsby? This amount was given to you over a period of 3 months immediately preceding negotiations for a design contract. Now, do you seriously expect this court to believe that Stanley Reading and his firm license knew nothing of this imminent contract during those 3 months? That you've not told Mr. Reading about it?
I had said nothing about it at all.
When you heard that the county architect favoured another firm, you told Stanley Reading, and he agreed to pay you £1,000 if you could persuade that meeting on January the 4th to back your man.
That is not true.
And on his return from his continental holiday, he saw you in London 7 days later, on January the 11th, and through an intermediary gave you £1,000 in £10 notes. Now, is that correct?
No.
Having been successful in persuading the meeting to back license, this payment on January the 11th was the final payoff in a 3-month period of bribery.
That's absolute rubbish.
When were the proposed new council officers first suggested? When did you first come to hear about it?
Oh, I can't remember.
Well, I'm sure that something on such a large scale would not be contemplated overnight. Months, perhaps years of thought will have gone into it before the council publicly announced their intention. Would they not?
Yes.
Yes. So, despite your agreement with Mr. Reading, I've no doubt that you discussed this project with him well before the first gift was made to you.
I've already said we made it a policy not to discuss business matters.
Yes, of course. But we have only your word for that, haven't we? Should a county planning officer be a careful or a careless man, Mr. Stainsby?
Do you mean, am I a careful or a careless man?
Yes.
I don't understand what you mean by that.
Well, you say that you're not the kind of man to leave money lying around a hotel bedroom.
No. Who is?
But you say you forgot your checkbook when you went to London for the conference.
Yes.
Yes. You gave the reason for accepting Mr. Reading's invitation to stay at this hotel in London as forgetting your checkbook, did you not?
Yes.
Strange how careless you can be one minute and how careful the next.
Well, we're all human, aren't we? We're all capable of making errors.
Oh, yes. Some more than others. Of course, we're having to accept your word all the time for all these areas of doubt, you realise. For example, will you be calling a witness who overheard Mr. Amris say, "I'll get you for this," when you ejected him from your house?
He was outside the house. The guests were inside the house.
So we haven't a witness? No. And in fact, once again, we have only your word for the fact that Mr. Amris did not pass on this £1,000 from Mr. Reading.
£1,000 wouldn't bribe anything from me. I've got a private art collection that's worth over £50,000. It would take a lot more than £1,000 to move me.
Oh, so you are capable of being moved by money then, Mr. Stainsby?
Oh, well, you would say that, wouldn't you?
No, you said it.
What I mean is this. If a perfect stranger came along and saw the way I live, he wouldn't offer me £1,000 and a second-hand carpet and a crate of cheap wine because he'd know he'd be insulting me.
But a friend, like Stanley Reading, perhaps he, because he was a friend, would be allowed to do what in others would be insulting. Hand you £1,000. Oh, well. Now, you had this agreement, you say, with Stanley Reading that you would not discuss business matters in private, as to do so would or might lead someone to point the finger. Well, why then, if you were both so concerned about public awareness of your relationship, did you exchange gifts during a period when you knew the council would be likely to give licence the contract?
The wine was a perfectly ordinary Christmas gift. The carpet I didn't want.
But the public didn't know this. You didn't go around telling the public that these were usual or unwanted gifts, did you? No.
Mr. Golding, I do think the witness should be allowed to answer your question, don't you?
My lord. Well, did you?
No.
No. And on January the 11th last, 7 days after successfully persuading the County Council to ask licence to design this new council building, you met Mr. Reading in London. Now, is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. In a flat off Berkeley Square, you and Mr. Amherst, your assistant, you attended a party with Mr. Reading.
Yes, I was ill at that party. I had to leave early.
Oh, yes, so we've heard. You were taken ill. And you left the party without Mr. Reading's knowledge, did you not?
So Amherst says. Whether Reading saw me go or not, I don't know.
Yes, you left, no doubt, because you were now fully aware that the finger might be pointed. Having done your job in persuading the council, to be seen in public with Mr. Reading would indeed be dangerous.
I was ill. I had a stomach upset.
Was there someone else at this party? A councillor, perhaps, who also knew Mr. Reading? Was that why you left for the hotel?
I left the party because I was ill.
I suggest the reason you left the party, Mr. Stainsby, was the presence of this councillor. And that was also the reason why Mr. Reading was careful to seek out Mr. Amherst alone in the kitchen to give him this envelope containing this £1,000.
Well, that is conjecture, isn't it?
But is it not also the truth?
All right, then you tell me, who is this councillor I'm supposed to have seen?
You are here to answer my questions, Mr. Stainsby. Now, in all your testimony, you have not one shred of evidence that will corroborate your version of events, have you?
If you are referring to the party...
Yes?
No, I haven't.
No. The policy adopted by you and Reading of not appearing business-orientated in public was, in fact, adopted to conceal illicit dealings between you, was it not?
Well, I don't see how you can draw an implication of that kind in any way whatsoever. I have got a cousin who is the captain of a nuclear submarine. I do not discuss that with him either privately or in public, but it doesn't mean I'm a security risk.
But your cousin is not permitted on pain of punishment to discuss such matters with you, is he? Stanley Reading and yourself were placed under no such strictures. Wouldn't it have been wiser, simpler, to have accepted no gifts from Stanley Reading if you were so concerned about your public image?
What, with somebody I've known for over 30 years?
Will you look at this, please? Exhibit 3, my lord.
Yeah.
Now, do you recognise that? It's in your handwriting.
Yes.
Yes, it was a memorandum written by you in July 1973, and it clearly indicates that you knew of the proposed council building long before any gifts were made to you. Now, will you read it aloud, please?
I believe that with adequate funds borrowed either privately or from the Treasury, we shall build the finest local administration centre in the country.
The finest local administration centre in the country. Yes. A more ambitious project than the swimming baths or the comprehensive school designed by licence so far. Now a project was to be undertaken so prestigious that to be left out of that would amount to disaster. And Stanley Reading could not be sure that your friendship alone would win his firm the contract. And so he resorted to bribery. Personal bribery of his friend, the county planning officer.
Licence were quite competent to win that contract on their merit. They weren't short of work. It was neither necessary or desperate for them to win that contract.
Well, perhaps not in the commercial sense, but perhaps necessary from the point of view of prestige.
Well, you'll have to ask Stanley Reading that, won't you?
Oh, yes, I intend to, Mr. Stainsby. Now, there was a break in your mutual friendship on September the 28th, 1973, was there not?
Oh, I can't remember.
Or was there not a break in your friendship at the end of September 1973? An altercation, a rift?
I can't remember.
Well, may I refresh your memory? You were on board a yacht moored at Salcombe in Devon. Your two families were present, yours and Stanley Reading's, and Stanley Reading struck you.
Yes, well, we'd had too much to drink. We were just fooling about.
Did he strike you?
Yes.
Yes. And 1 week later, Stanley Reading made you a present of a Persian carpet worth exactly £869.
Oh, that had got nothing to do with it.
But these are the facts, are they not? And the contract for the new council building was so desperately sought by Stanley Reading to such an extent that he had to make apologies for his behaviour on that yacht by making gifts to you.
We were just fooling about.
Mr. Stainsby, on Monday morning, January the 14th, not 48 hours after your return from your visit to London and the receipt of an envelope from Stanley Reading, you deposited the sum of £1,000 in your private account at your bank in Fulchester. Now, is that correct?
Yes, I'd sold one of my paintings for £1,000.
Really? And you have some supporting evidence of this transaction, of course?
No, I sold it to a Brazilian friend of mine who left from Heathrow 2 days later.
A Brazilian? A friend from Brazil where the nuts come from?
From Brasilia. An architect. Paulo Alberto. We agreed the deal in London on Saturday, lunchtime.
Yes, we've only your word that you sold him this painting for £1,000, I suppose?
Yes.
Yes, no receipt, no invoice, no cheque.
No.
No.
He paid in cash. He wanted to avoid exchange restrictions. He would have been in trouble else.
I suggest to you, Mr. Stainsby, that you've dreamed up this story in anticipation of the police searching your bank account.
It's the truth.
A witness has testified that the envelope which he handed you from Stanley Reading contained £1,000, and 2 days later you deposited £1,000 in your bank account.
That £1,000 was paid to me by the Brazilian for the oil painting. I put it in the envelope myself.
Sir, you've been lying, Mr. Stainsby. First you denied that there was any envelope whatsoever, and now you say that there was £1,000 put in it. You admit that you lied?
Yes.
Yes.
But this is the truth. Emrys is only concerned with getting me into trouble. I didn't say anything about that envelope containing hotel expenses or anything like that. All that envelope originally contained was a necklace, a present from Stanley Reading to my daughter on her birthday. Now, the Brazilian paid me the £1,000 in London on the Saturday night. That's the night I was taken ill. I put the £1,000 into the envelope which had originally contained the necklace. Alberto flew back to Brazil from Heathrow on the Monday morning, and at the same time, I deposited the £1,000 in my bank account in Fulchester.
Mr. Stainsby, the truth is there never was any necklace. That Stanley Reading, anxious to secure your friendship and to make up for the altercation on board the yacht, made you gifts totalling £1,934, and that these gifts had...
It isn't true. I'm sorry, my lord, but he's lying. He won't tell the truth. He'd rather go to prison, but I won't.
Sit down.
My lord...
Mr. Reading, your opportunity to speak will come later.
But he must tell the truth. It's very important.
It is for the jury to decide about the truth. And if you cannot remain silent, I shall have you removed.
I'm sorry, but he's lying.
Take the prisoner down.
I'm sorry. Sorry.
My lord, I must apologise for the behaviour of my client. He's under great stress.
Well, perhaps we're all under great stress. This might be a good moment to adjourn for 45 minutes. That will give Mrs. Dixon the opportunity to advise her client that his best interests will be served by behaving properly.
All stand.
Tomorrow, our cameras return to the Crown Court for the final day of the case of the Queen against Stainsby and Reading. Did Stanley Reading bribe John Stainsby in order to secure a design contract from Moreland County Council? Is Stainsby lying? He admitted receiving an envelope from Reading, but denies the prosecution claim that it contained £1,000. It contained, he said, a necklace for his daughter's birthday. Following an outburst by Reading during Stainsby's cross-examination, the court was adjourned. Reading has just gone into the witness box to be examined by his own counsel.
You are Stanley Reading of 16 Wicker Avenue, Moorfield.
Yes?
You are a partner in the firm of Lysons, a firm of architects.
Yes.
Your firm has considerable standing in your profession, particularly in the north of England, am I right?
Yes.
In January 1974, were you in any way desperate to secure work for your firm?
Not at all. We were doing very well. We had several contracts on hand, or pending, or in process of completion.
Between October 1973 and January the 1st, 1974, were you aware that Moreland County Council were about to announce the proposed building of new council offices?
I had no such knowledge of any such project.
Not even from John Stainsby, the county planning officer for Moreland County Council?
We never discussed business.
You were not even aware that Flint Makepeace, another firm of architects, might be given the contract to design the new offices?
I knew nothing of it.
In October 1973, you made a gift of a carpet to John Stainsby. At Christmas, a crate of wine. Is that correct?
It is.
Were either of these gifts connected in any way with the proposed new council offices?
I've told you I knew nothing of them.
Now, we've heard of a bond of friendship that existed between yourself and John Stainsby.
Yes.
It was a very close friendship, was it not?
Yes.
You knew him from your days at university together when you were both studying architecture.
From an outburst to a whisper, Mrs. Dixon. The witness must speak up.
Yes.
Would you say that John Stainsby is a dominating personality?
Yes.
He was an amateur boxer, I believe.
At university.
Now, Mr. Reading, during the course of your relationship with John Stainsby, some 30 years, I gather, would it be true to say that you liked him?
No, I disliked him.
Now, I don't wish to make this painful to you, but some members of the jury may find this a little puzzling. I'm sure most of us are well aware that there are certain relationships where an emotionally and physically weaker man enjoys the dominance of a stronger person, without there being any sexual attachment.
Mrs. Dixon, I do think your client should be allowed to define his relationship with his co-defendant, don't you?
My lord, I was about to ask him to do so.
Oh, then we shall see if it's relevant, eh?
My lord, in due course it will become obvious that this relationship between the two defendants will provide a complete rebuttal for the prosecution's case.
Oh, do let's get on.
My lord. Mr. Reading, why did you make these gifts of the carpet and the wine?
I wanted to bribe him. To stay away from my wife.
You mean that John Stainsby was having an affair with your wife?
Yes.
When did you first become aware of this?
For 2 or 3 years. I knew in 1971.
And when did you first confront John Stainsby with your knowledge?
Oh, September the 28th, 1973.
You were on board a yacht moored in Salcombe Harbour on that date?
Yes.
What was John Stainsby's reaction to your statement?
He laughed at me.
And what did you do?
I hit him.
Did you hurt him?
No. He seemed amused. He laughed again.
Did he say anything?
He said, my wife's not objecting, and he suggested that I should reciprocate with his wife.
Had you in fact agreed to your wife's relationship with John Stainsby up to this point?
Yes.
Had it not bothered you?
Not until she wanted to leave me and go and live with them.
With John Stainsby's family?
Yes.
Yes. So when you made these gifts of the carpet and the wine, what were your feelings?
I felt desperate.
Did you believe that you could buy off John Stainsby's relationship with your wife?
Well, I'd promised him £5,000. I gave him the first £1,000 on January the 11th, and I was going to give him the next 2,000 if the affair was abandoned at the end of 6 months, and the last 2,000 if they saw nothing of one another at the end of a year.
Did he accept the first £1,000?
No, paid it back a month later. My wife's still seeing him. In a way, I suppose he's less unscrupulous than I thought.
Thank you, Mr. Reading.
You making up this account of my client's relationship with your wife, totally false account, because you're frightened that the truth, the £1,000 derived from the sale of a painting, will not be believed in the court?
No.
Is it not true that you actively encouraged your wife to associate with Mr. Stainsby because you yourself had lost all marital inclinations?
No, it is not true at all.
No more questions, my lord.
Mr. Reading, Mr. Stainsby now maintains that you had placed a necklace inside this envelope for his daughter's birthday. Now, you know that's not true, don't you? There was £1,000 in £10 notes inside that envelope, was there not?
Yes.
Yes, paid discreetly via Mr. Stainsby's assistant to Stainsby himself on January the 11th, 7 days after a meeting in which Stainsby has admitted that he persuaded the members to back your firm for the design contract relating to these new council offices. Now, this was the payoff, was it not, Mr. Reading? The final payment in a chain of bribes that went back to the previous October when you first heard of the proposed project from John Stainsby himself.
I knew nothing of any such project until January the 1st, when the council announced it publicly.
You expect this court to believe that you paid John Stainsby £1,000 to buy him off from your wife?
I know it sounds irrational, but I was beside myself.
Well, I'm glad you realise it sounds irrational, Mr. Reading. I've no doubt that the members of the jury will agree with you.
Well, people do stupid things under stress.
Oh, yes, I'm sure they do. Like paying money in order to secure not only a lucrative contract, but also one which would enhance your firm's reputation.
Come to the point, Mr. Fielding.
My lord. I suggest to you, Mr. Reading, that the desperation which motivated payment of goods and money to John Stainsby was prompted not by marital discord or whatever, but by the need to secure a contract to design what has been described as the finest local administration centre in the country.
It wasn't desperate at all. It obviously wouldn't be built anyway, at least not for a good many years.
Oh, why was that?
Well, obviously not. The ideas were thought of before the fuel crises and the subsequent financial squeeze.
But you were not to know that when you paid gifts of goods between October and December 1973.
We'd exchanged gifts always.
Well, as you had lost all marital inclinations, as my learned friend so delicately put it, the question arises, why did you bother to pay to get your wife back?
Because she is my wife.
Mr. Lloyd has already suggested that you have concocted this story about your wife's relationship with John Stainsby, and I further suggest that this was to obscure the very evident truth of this matter, that you were in fact bribing John Stainsby for this council contract.
It's not true.
Look, you gave John Stainsby a carpet worth over £800. You paid for his hotel expenses, and you also gave him a crate of wine during a period when you could very easily have known about this impending contract. Now, is that not correct?
A second-hand carpet, inferior wine, unwelcome gifts.
We've only the word of your co-defendant that they were unwelcome.
Well, you've heard that my firm, Licence, was likely to get the contracts anyway on the strength of past work they'd done for the council.
But the £1,000 was given by you to John Stainsby only a few days after he had swung a meeting from favouring Flint Makepeace to the advantage of your own firm, Licence. Now, is that not the case?
You either have to accept my word or not.
But clearly, Mr. Reading, you do not accept John Stainsby's word. His version as to what lay behind the payment of £1,000 after he had first lied to this court.
No, I don't.
No. And I suggest to you that previous to this trial, you decided to plead not guilty and deny the charges, putting down the gift of these carpets, this carpet and this wine to pure friendship. But with regard to the £1,000, John Stainsby comes up with a story about a Brazilian buying a painting from him. And as you see his defence crumbling, you come along with yet another version of events, even more extraordinary, and with your histrionic outburst and behaviour, attempt to mislead the jury.
No.
Well, what I would like to know is why you paid John Amos the envelope to give to John Stainsby. I'm sorry, Mr. Amos. Now, was it because you wished to implicate him in the conspiracy in case he was ever called upon to give evidence against you?
Complete nonsense.
You will agree, though, will you not, that you did try to bribe John Stainsby? I mean, you said that that was your intention.
I wanted to bribe him to keep away from my wife, to leave her alone. We'd been on holiday abroad, and when we came back, my wife got a telephone call from Stainsby asking her to see me in his hotel. I was very upset. I wanted to get in touch with Stainsby and ask him to stay longer in London so that I could talk to him and try to persuade him, but it didn't work.
You say John Stainsby paid you back the £1,000?
Yes.
By cheque or by cash?
Oh, I don't remember. It was the same amount of cash returned.
And I've no doubt you have evidence of that, of course, in your bank statement. I mean, no doubt you paid the money back into your bank.
No, I didn't. I used it to buy a car.
Yes, I've no further questions, my lord. Thank you.
You are Dr. David Crombie of Hillgate, Sandy Lane, Fulchester.
I am.
You are a medical practitioner in private practice.
Yes.
and a senior consultant physician at the Fulchester General Hospital.
Yes.
Now, am I correct in thinking that Stanley Reading, whom you see in the court, has been a private patient of yours for 12 years?
That is correct.
Now, would you please tell this court what has been the most common complaint that Stanley Reading has suffered from over the period in which he's been in your care?
Yes, he's neurotic, very nervous, slightly paranoid, and as a result has become exhausted and needed complete rest on a number of occasions.
When was the last time he consulted you?
About a month ago, he was severely depressed.
And before that?
In October 1973, he complained that his wife was having an affair, and he was distraught.
Not really concentrating on his work, then?
It was affecting his work. I prescribed sedatives.
In this state, would you say that he'd be likely to act irrationally?
Oh, yes, indeed. A neurotic can be pushed to commit violence.
So really, anything out of the ordinary in his behaviour would not surprise you?
No, I suggested that he see a psychiatrist, but he refused. I think his vanity wouldn't let him.
Thank you, Doctor.
No questions, my lord?
Dr. Crombie, now you say Stanley Reading is a vain man.
Yes?
Childish, perhaps?
I don't know what you mean.
With possessions. Would he be proud of his material possessions?
Yes?
Conscious of his social status?
Yes.
Yes. To the extent of seeking more and more kudos from his position at work?
Oh, my lord, this is pure conjecture and hardly a matter for medical opinion.
I see no harm in it.
Very well, my lord.
And now you said, Dr. Crombie, that Stanley Reading would be capable of behaving irrationally in the matter of his marital relationships.
Yes?
Yes. Would you say that he would be capable of behaving irrationally in the pursuit of his prestige at work?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. I have no further questions, my lord.
Do you wish to re-examine Mrs. Dixon?
No, my lord.
No, no, you may leave the witness box, Dr. Crombie. Is that your case, Mrs. Dixon?
It is, my lord.
Members of the jury, you have heard conflicting evidence from both defendants, each of whom asked you to believe their differing stories. Now, I ask you merely to look at the evidence, dispassionately and clinically. Now, the most damaging fact, of course, to emerge during the course of this trial is that John Stainsby has lied to this court. He denied receiving an envelope from Stanley Reading. And in the course of the testimony, he attempted to denigrate the character of Stephen Amorous, the prosecution witness. Now, of course, we now know that Stephen Amorous was telling the truth and that John Stainsby lied to protect himself from justice. And if John Stainsby is a liar, what of the other defendant, Stanley Reading? Well, you've heard him described as a neurotic, vain man, conscious of his status at work and in society. Of course he would know of this impending contract for the design of these new council offices. Can you really believe that these two men, close associates for 30 years since their youth, would not pass on information which would be of use one to the other? Now, both defendants have admitted that there was a rift in their friendship in late September 1973. Stanley Reading knew of the impending contract, and to set about repairing the damage to his friendship with John Stainsby, he began to make gifts which, by January the 11th, 1974, 7 days after Stainsby had swung a council meeting in Reading's favour, totalled £1,934. And the dates of these gifts. Now, there is a remarkable coincidence with the negotiations concerning the council building contract. Nearly £2,000 was paid in goods and money by one defendant to the other. Now, Reading is not a millionaire. Would he really make gratuitous payments on this scale out of pure friendship? Now, both men, of course, have offered explanations for this large payment of £1,000, but neither explanation is credible, nor can they be substantiated by any material evidence. Stanley Reading tried to buy off Stainsby with £1,000 from continuing an affair with his wife. John Stainsby sold a painting to a Brazilian for £1,000. Well, we know that to be a lie, since Stanley Reading has testified that he did pay John Stainsby £1,000 on January the 11th, 1974. And here we have material evidence. Not 48 hours later, Stainsby deposited £1,000 in his private bank account. And this was just 9 days after Stainsby had swung a meeting to favour Stanley Reading's firm for the contract. Now, members of the jury, I submit that these facts leave you with no alternative but to find both defendants guilty as charged. Thank you.
So, members of the jury, let us go back to square one and ask why on earth bribery should have been necessary anyway. Licence, after all, had an excellent record with Moreland County Council. They were clear favourites to get the contract anyway. Mr. Stainsby and Mr. Reading have been concerned with previous council contracts with a swimming baths and a comprehensive school, with absolutely no evidence of corruption between them then. So why now? Like my learned friend's mathematics, it doesn't add up very well. But let us for a moment examine the possibility that bribery was taking place and ask, why then did my client ask Stephen Amris to accompany him to meet Stanley Reading on receipt of the carpet and then tell him how much it was worth? And ask, why then did my client leave Mr. Reading's greetings card on that crate of wine for all to see for a full 5 months from Christmas to May? Mr. Stainsby's no fool. He's very successful, very ambitious, forward-thinking man. It was he who wanted the best administration centre in the country for Moreland. He's very well paid. He's got a yacht, a private art collection alone worth £50,000. Why would he risk all that for a squalid bribe totalling under £2,000 that wasn't necessary anyway? And if he did risk his whole career and his reputation for that amount, would he not have been a little more discreet? Finally, members of the jury, I suggest that discounting bribery, no one can still be sure of the precise motivation for those gifts. And if you're in any doubt as to which defendant to believe, I mean, ask yourself, why, if they're guilty, have they not concocted an agreed story between them? And you weigh that doubt as part and parcel of the greater doubt attached to this case, not the least doubt being Mr. Amris's extremely questionable motives for contacting the police just hours after being thrown out of Mr. Stainsby's house, but 4 months after the events he alleges happened. And I must ask you to acquit both the defendants.
You saw how my client behaved. A sensitive man. A man whose doctor has testified is capable of acting irrationally. His wife was having an affair and he was distraught, is what Dr. Crombie said. The prosecution has pointed out that Mr. Reading struck Mr. Stainsby, before the firm of licence secured the council contract. Would this really be the action of a man trying to gain a business deal through bribery? And would this really be the action of a mild and sensitive man? Unless he was under considerable pressure for some reason. Well, the reason for that blow could hardly have been in order to secure the contract. No, members of the jury, it is obvious that my client is telling the truth when he says that John Stainsby was having an affair with his wife, and that both the blow which he inflicted upon Stainsby and the £1,000 which he paid him were because of his despair about this relationship. Prosecution has also suggested that my client is putting on an act with the intention of moving you to a sentimental misjudgment. Well, I suggest rather that he is a sincere and distressed man, and that this is the explanation for his behaviour.
Members of the jury, you've heard the evidence in this case. Much of it may have confused you, but you will have had the opportunity to form your opinion of the characters of the two defendants when they gave their evidence in the witness box. Now, Stainsby, the first defendant, he gave his evidence firmly and clearly, but under cross-examination by learned counsel, he admitted that his original denial of the existence of the £1,000 in an envelope was false. The second defendant, Reading, described by his physician as a vain, neurotic man given to emotion, made an outburst in the dock. You mustn't be misled by such an exhibition. It is of no concern to you whether or not Stanley Reading's wife was having an affair with John Stainsby. But if you think that was the case, then you must ask yourselves, is it credible that Reading should make a payment in an attempt to keep his wife? Now, as to the facts. On January the 1st, the council made public their statement about the building of the new council offices, and on January the 4th, Stainsby persuaded a meeting of council officers to abandon the county architect's original selection of Flint Makepeace to design the new building in favour of Reading's firm, Licence. These facts are not in dispute. Neither in dispute are the gifts of a carpet, wine, hotel expenses, given by Reading to Stainsby. Both defendants say there was no significance in these gifts. But you, here, must consider very carefully the important evidence of the £1,000 in an envelope. Now, did Stainsby receive on January the 11th this £1,000 as payment for an oil painting? Or did he receive it from Reading via Mr. Amris? Was this £1,000, together with the earlier gifts, made by Reading and received by Stainsby with the intention of inducing Stainsby to act favourably in Reading's interest? If so, that was corruption. In this trial, either both men are innocent or both men are guilty. You cannot convict one and acquit the other, because no offence was committed unless joint purpose existed. Now, I refer to joint purpose because what you have to consider is the purpose of those gifts. Now, normally, the prosecution have to prove guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. But on this issue, the defendants have to satisfy you on the balance of probabilities. That is to say, if you think it more likely than not that the gifts or monies were not made with that intention, then you should acquit. Will you now please retire and consider your verdicts?
All stand. Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Just answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict upon which you are all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the defendant, John Stainsby, guilty or not guilty on the charge of corruptly receiving gifts?
Guilty.
Is that the verdict of you all?
Yes.
Do you find the defendant, Stanley Reading, guilty or not guilty on the charge of corruptly making gifts?
Guilty.
Is that the verdict of you all?
Yes.
John Stainsby, you have been found guilty of a very serious charge. You abused a public position for the sake of financial gain. I have no alternative but to sentence you to 2 years' imprisonment. Stanley Reading, you have also been found guilty of corruption. Your counsel has pleaded on your behalf that you were the weaker character of the two. But you bear the greater responsibility in that you are guilty of the more serious charge, that of corruptly making the gifts for gain. Therefore, I sentence you to 2.5 years' imprisonment. Take them down.
Next week, a chance for you to join another jury in assessing the facts when our cameras return to watch a leading case in the Crown Court.